Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna Sophia for those of you that are new here, and if you are new, please consider subscribing because I post home decor DIY content every single week. Today I'm going to show you guys how I made these Urban Outfitters inspired home decor items using dollar store products as a graduation gift to one of my good friend's little sisters as she is going away to college this year. So I told her she had $50. What does she want me to do? I can either make a bunch of stuff or buy maybe one thing. And she said, no, I want you to make stuff. So that is what I'm going to show you how I did what I did. For the first DIY, she had actually sent me this picture as inspo, and obviously it's so beautiful, but it's also $229 and enormous. It would definitely not fit in her dorm. So I'm gonna make something for her using a Dollar Tree shower caddy on a much smaller, more functional scale. So the first step in this macrame project is we just need to make several lark's head knots around that top piece. I ordered my macrame cord off of Amazon. It was a very affordable price, but you obviously don't need a spool this large. You can get something much smaller. I cut each piece about 6 feet long, and then in order to make a lark's head knot, you really just want to fold your macrame cord in half and then make a loop and then pull the strings through that loop that you just created. I did that until I covered the entire front, and then I did the sides after the fact. Before I do any macrame, I like to tape down. If I'm not able to work on it on the wall, I like to tape down so it's not like bopping all over the place and I can actually like stay like clean and focused while I'm macrameing. I know it seems like there's a lot of extra macrame, but when you make square knots, which is what we're gonna be doing, it uses so much macrame quickly. In order to make a square knot, you need to be working with 4 pieces of macrame at a time. You're gonna make a number 4, leaving those 2 center strands in the middle. Those never come apart. Taking that 4th strand under, over, and through the 4 that you just created, and then pull tight. But you're not done because you only just did half of the square. So now you have to make a backwards 4 and do the same process. So you're going to instead make a 4, you're gonna make a backwards 4 using that farthest right strand, keeping the 2 still in the middle, and then having the farthest left strand now go under, over, and through that 4 that we just made. And that what we just did there is one complete square knot. You want however many you're gonna do to be divisible by 4. So I did 20 on this front piece and 8 on either side. Now that we've completed our first solid row of square knots, I want to connect the square knots to each other. So I'm basically taking the 2 strands on the left from the first and the 2 first strands on the right to make the second set of square knots in that row. And it's going to give it almost a diamond shape. And then I'm just gonna follow that through the rest of that row. So they're going to be off-centered square knots. After doing that pattern all the way through, I'm now going back to the original square knot that we did in the first row. And it's gonna give it this kind of pattern that is woven, but it's tightly woven. You can see through it a little bit, but not much. And from here on out, the process is very repetitive. My cords did get short at the end, so I just kind of did a reverse lark's head knot to attach it to the back. So I wasn't able to completely go through. If you want to completely go through the back, go right ahead, but your cords are gonna need to be much longer in order to do that. So I know the tag said shower caddy, but she told me she didn't really even need a shower caddy. She would much rather have something to put her mail in, set her keys on, lanyards, the whole thing. So that's what I decided to make for her. So I'm just taking the scrap piece of wood and I cut it down to size, gave it a quick sand and stain, and I'm going to be attaching it with E6000 and hot glue. So I'm just using these clamps to make sure everything stays nice and put, and this is how our new and improved mail/key holder turned out. For the next project, we are going to be giving her some wall art. She sent me many inspiration pictures, and she has very like mid-century modern taste, which is exactly what Urban Outfitters is selling right now. So I did find this large reusable bag, and it kind of had a mid-century vibe to it. So all I'm gonna do with this is trace out the 11 by 14 frames I also picked up from the Dollar Tree and cut those out at the same time. They had quite a few different patterns you could choose from. I just felt like this one was the most similar to the pictures she had sent me. After cutting those out, I did find these mats at the Dollar Tree too, which was pretty cool because I feel like I've never seen them there before, and mats I feel like can make or break how a picture turns out. So definitely pick those up and the 11 by 14 frames up if you ever see them at your Dollar Tree, because there's so much you can do with them. After giving these frames just a quick coat of gold spray paint just to kind of match her aesthetic better, it was time to just put everything together. For the next project, we are actually going to be doing a macrame mirror. It's very simple and it's a very similar concept to what I did with the shower caddy makeover. But basically what you'll need is a shower hook. I got that pack. You get 12 of them for $1, and a dollar store round mirror. I opted for the bigger one. I just removed the frame. It's 7.5 inches in diameter. I did spray paint the shower hook this like ivory color because I didn't want the clearness to show through, even though I'll be covering it all with macrame. I cut 2 7 feet long strands and I made 2 lark's head knots. To make a lark's head knot, again, you're just gonna fold that strand in half, and so it creates a loop, and you just pull those strands through that loop and pull tight. Sticking with that same theme, I'm just doing square knots about 4 inches down and then tying it off with a knot. And before we go any farther, I just wanted to cover this entire shower hook with macrame cord. This macrame cord is only 3 millimeters, so I think that that's why it works out really well. When you go up in size, it can kind of get big and bulky, so I like sticking with a 3 or a 4 millimeter. So now let's just talk about knots. You have a knot underneath the macrame with all 4 cords, and then you're gonna split those cords in half, 3 inches down, make 2 knots on either side, and then bring them back together about 4 inches down, making a knot, tying it all together, giving it a place for your mirror to rest inside of. And this is how it turned out. For the next project, we are going to be making a little clothespin nightlight. Now, I'm only really making her nightlight not because she's afraid of the dark, but because if her roommate's sleeping and she just needs to find something quickly, she can put this up on the wall, she can put it up by her nightstand, whatever she needs to do. The inspo picture that she had sent me of just things that she liked, that she wanted her room to look like, these were actually mirrors, so I'm just twisting it up a little bit. So with the clothespins, you just want to separate them, get the silver part off, and then you're going to attach the backs together, so you're going to have a little square in the middle of what you've attached. In the Dollar Tree bag of clothespins, you get 36 clothespins, and I needed all 36. So this project is actually only a few dollars. So if you want to give this as someone you know who's going to school, or just someone who you think would like this, it's a very affordable DIY. So this light is a battery operated light, so I just popped in some AAA batteries, and even with the spray paint, it still looks great and you can still see it, which is obviously the most important thing in a nightlight. And now it's just time to attach the first row of clothespins to the light itself. I had to make sure that I wasn't gluing on the small little ridge where you would open and close it to put in new batteries. From this point on, it's super repetitive. I wanted the bottoms to be touching but not overlapping, and I wanted it all to be very even because this is only the first row of clothespins that we're doing. After that first row is done, I wanted to just stain these now because I felt like I really wouldn't be able to once I got the second row on there. So I'm just giving these a quick coat of stain in Special Walnut by Varathane. I feel like I need to try a different stain, so definitely leave a comment below on which stain you really like. I've also heard that people can use coffee, so if that's a thing and you've done it, let me know how it goes. And now it's just time for that second row that I talked about before. So I'm just gluing in between each of the clothespins that I had done in the previous row. After gluing all those down, keep in mind I'm gluing all of those down to the clothespins underneath, not necessarily to the light itself. After those are all glued down, it's just time to give another coat of stain to the top layer, and this is how our new light turned out. She absolutely loved the fruit bowl that I had done in last week's thrift flip video, so I wanted to give her something that's kind of similar. I don't think she really needs a fruit bowl, but she probably does need something to put her jewelry and her perfume and her makeup on, so I wanted to make her something really similar using Dollar Tree products. So I'm using this glass candlestick from Dollar Tree as well as this little tray. And just as I did in the thrift flip video, I'm just cutting a cork down to size and using some E6000. I have found that this works the best in terms of keeping everything nice and secure for a long period of time. Also using hot glue just because I like that works quicker, but I know it's not going to last over time. So everything's nice and secure now. Now it's time to just give it a coat of gold spray paint so it matches the rest of the decor that I made for her. And this is how the vanity tray turned out. She loved every single thing, which made me so happy. She was so happy that I didn't just go to Urban Outfitters and spend that same amount of money on one or two things, that she was actually able to get a lot more bang for her buck, or my buck rather. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I post home decor and DIY content every single week. And I will see you guys next Sunday for another DIY video. Have a great week. Bye.